We didn't have to simultaneously sit down.
That's just how it worked out. And welcome to the Face Show, the first ever Face Show, episode 1.
Numero uno.
Number 1, baby. And we're starting now.
Right now.
It's real now. It's happened. This isn't a test. This isn't 0. This is 1.
So
we're here.
So what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about moral responsibility and how it breaks down in every facet of everything in life. We're going to talk about cap and trade, I hear.
Cap and trade.
That's big. What else are we talking about?
Cap and trading baseball cards.
Oh, snap.
That's what
Wait
it
a
is.
minute. That's not baseball cards.
We're going to talk about the Megan Meyer bill that they're trying to pass.
Oh, that's a big bill.
Uh-huh.
That's a big evil motherfucker.
That's a bill that might put us in jail.
It will. If they get their way, we're all going to jail,
Yeah, we're
baby.
going to jail.
Yeah.
So-
You know, the fucking Constitution was written like hundreds of years ago. It must not be any good. I might as well wipe my ass with it while I'm at it, right?
Right. Doesn't count.
I mean, that's the current.
Doesn't count for anything anymore.
That's the way the current, legal philosophy is. I mean, it evolved into shit.
Right.
Right. All right.
And this political campaign, they just don't give a crap about it. So
No.
they're just going to throw it out the window.
On a random.
I had a teacher that used to throw our books out the window.
Oh, that's what they're doing.
If we weren't paying attention, she would walk up to us and grab our books.
Oh,
I went
America.
to Catholic school.
America, are you paying attention? Because they're about to throw out your fucking book right out the window. And you know what? That's another thing. I promised I wouldn't curse so much in this episode, and I've already broken it. Oops.
You got to put $1 in the curse
Oops.
jar.
I know. Oh. What was that? If you were paying attention, that's our commitment to excellence. Yeah, you go.
Repasaro.
Cajo.
So.
On a random note about the quick, real fast about the cap and trade.
You don't need to make it fast.
Well, no, today I'm at work. This lady comes in, and, ring her or whatever happens. But she, some random chick you wouldn't even think, especially where we live, would be against stuff like that. But this random-ass, regular, everyday American knew all about cap and trade, knew it was a bunch of BS, knew that they were going to screw us, and she's like, yeah, America won't wake up, but give them a year and you'll see their energy bill quadruple for stuff that's not even pollution, but have fun with that. You see it?
She must have done her research.
I think she did. And what else? What are the other things we're talking about? What else did we decide on?
We're going to talk about companies, reimbursement for college tuition.
All right, that's
tax-free reimbursement. We're gonna educate the folks.
Oh yeah, this is on
the
personal,
realities of how much is taxed and how much is not taxed.
It's a personal segment, and this First Amendment thing is big too. And I think what else do we want to talk about? What was the last one?
I don't know. We can talk about anything we damn well
please. I know, but I know there was something in my brain. Oh, you know what? Let me say this real fast. I know I've said to people I'm not going to talk about the Sotomayor thing because I could care less about this chick getting in and out. I think it's a distraction to distract us from the other two big things they're going to cram down our throats. But alright, anybody who's played poker knows after a while you can see a person's poker face. And actually, as a judge or an attorney, you should be able to pick up on a poker face as well. Therefore, you should be pretty good at hiding your own poker face. But not is the case for our current nominee for Supreme Court Justice, because this bitch. And we may even enter in the clip for this. I don't even know how to do that yet, but if it's there, it's because I learned and it doesn't work for you. But if it's not there, who cares? But the famous thing that Latin women are better, whatever her freaking line was. Well, yesterday they asked her, the congressman asked her about it, and she says right off the bat, she gave that big speech of how she doesn't believe in any of that, she doesn't think that makes a difference, and she completely 180'd. But
she flipped a bitch.
She did flip a bitch.
She flipped a bitch.
But here's what I'm going to say. I don't know if you guys, again, I don't know if we're going to put it on or not, but, dog, I found her tell. She has a tell. It's like a narcoleptic seizure or something. She looks like a fucking, like a crackhead who hasn't gotten a hit in like 6 hours. That's what she does. Watch it again and look or blink.
I want to state up front, unequivocally and without doubt, I do not believe that any ethnic racial, or gender group has an advantage in sound judging. I do believe that every person has an equal opportunity to be a good and wise judge regardless of their background.
Like rapid blinking when she's bullshitting. Every time she bullshits, rapid, like, with her eyes.
What?
And then as soon as she's done bullshitting and she's back to not lying, normal blinking, like a human.
Let me clear something up real quick. When I say flip a bitch, this is for the people on the West Coast. You already know what flip a bitch means. The people on the East Coast, the dirty Midwest, probably don't know what flip a bitch means. You know, since I'm from New York and Cali, I'm obligated to tell you, when I say flip a bitch, it means flip a 180. Like, when you're in your car, you need to hit a Yui. You know what I'm saying? Popo's following you, you need to flip a bitch. Okay?
There
I flipped
you
a
go.
bitch this morning, and he got me for evading. I didn't tell you that yet.
Yo, wait a minute. Whoop, whoop. On a personal segment.
Fuck the police, fuck the police.
So, we don't actually prescribe to fucking the police because they might have diseases. I don't know if they've been tested. Anyway. So wait, what happened, man? What happened, man?
Alright, I got pulled over. My inspection's up.
Yeah.
I need a new catalytic converter for the Jetta.
Yeah, and it's expensive.
The
You bought
Volkswagen,
one, you
it's
got ripped
expensive.
off.
Bought
Yeah.
one, got ripped off.
Didn't work.
Didn't work. Don't buy universals. Whatever you do, buy the original parts for your car. They make for your car. There's a reason it's for your car.
Oh my God! It's
Don't
so
try and
aftermarket
get out
parts.
paying less.
Unless
okay?
you're gonna put a fucking wing on your car, don't get an aftermarket park.
So
I said park instead of part, but whatever.
So I see the cop. I pass the cop in the opposite
Yeah.
direction. I see the cop. And
He
you
spots
know,
your sticker.
He spots me, but he's got to go down, pull around. He's got to get past some cars. So I flip a bitch. He sees me flip a bitch. You know, pulls me over.
Oh, did you see him flip a bitch?
Luckily, he wrote me the ticket. He didn't write me the ticket for flipping a bitch, but he was like, "Son, you don't flip the bitch." So he wrote me a ticket for my inspection.
That's horrible.
Okay, wrote me a ticket for the inspection. Well, he said, "I'll dismiss it if you come to court. Just show me that you tried to get something fixed. Show me something from the universal that you put in." And he said, "I'll dismiss it." So I got off. Luckily, I got off.
There you go.
There
But
you go,
you know
luckily.
what? Because
But I'm used to getting pulled out of my car when I get pulled over, so I always get nervous.
Same here. But I mean, we may kid about the police. We may joke about the police, but in reality, there are not friends. They're the hall monitors that keep us safe. That's what they are. And I appreciate you, law enforcement, because without you, there would be anarchy or whatever. I don't know. I don't think there would be anarchy, but there'd just be a lot of people giving each other's five across the eye justice, which we're not advocating yet, but we will be. And let's move right along. You know what? We'll even talk a little bit about universal health care. I wanted to break into that a little bit, but I didn't want to. I'll do that at the end.
That's later.
That's much later. All right. So let's talk, because I hear you did a lot of research on this cap and trade thing, Cody.
Well, first you got to understand what cap and trade is.
It's true. Now, what is it? I'm going to play stupid here. I'm like the rest of America that's like, cap and trade. It sounds like something for corporations and traders.
It is for corporations.
Oh, okay.
It's basically the government gives allowances for companies to pollute.
Oh, Captain Planet must be fucking rolling over in his grave. I think he's dead.
It was a cape. He got caught up on the cape.
There you go. He didn't really have a cape though.
No.
For all you nerds out there.
I don't know. I didn't follow that.
Captain Planet.
I was more like Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, who cares about
Hulk
you?
Hogan.
Anyway, back to you.
So basically, these companies, they get an allowance to pollute.
All right.
Now, some companies don't pollute that much, and those are the ones that are supposed to get these allowances.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what they do is they sell them to companies that can't control their pollution habits.
Ooh, something about profits in here.
So the idea is that there's supposed to be so minimal of these allowances that they become in high demand.
Uh-oh, now they're expensive.
But the problem with the Obama administration
Uh-oh, not President Obama, he's the savior.
is 80% of these companies are getting these allowances.
Uh-oh.
So who's to say that these 80% just don't go, screw the 20, I don't even care about them, I got my allowance, okay? I don't have to worry about cutting my CO2 emissions, because that's what that means. So basically, what they're trying to say is that it's cheaper to cut your CO2 emissions, right, than to have to pay this allowance.
Oh, so what they're trying to do is blackmail you into lowering your energy costs by not, I don't know, turning on a light bulb, an oven,
right,
you know, taking a shit with the lights off. I mean, I don't know what you have to do, but they want you to. And what happens if you don't do what they want?
If you don't do what they want?
Well, say I'm a.
Well, see that's the problem.
I'm a pizzeria, right? I have to make X amount of pies a day to make money. My energy costs are summer and winter are almost the same, with the exception of summer. You know, maybe I have an air conditioning going, but not even because it's a pizzeria. So my energy costs aren't really going to go up or down or fluctuate. They're going to be steady. I can't lower my energy costs. That means I'm not making pizza. So what happens to me, the business, they can't do that shit because I'm going to use the same amount of energy regardless of what they say to me.
So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to buy one of these allowances from a company that is CO2 efficient according to their standards.
And if I don't...
And if you don't, they're shutting you down. You're going to shut down.
And how... Now, what you don't know, guys, is not only does this affect companies that are huge, and don't wait until they pass those savings on to... expenses on to you. This also affects the everyday person because it affects energy companies, meaning all forms of energy get taxed. This shitload of tax and have to buy these allowances. Isn't that right?
That's right. So what happens is this. Solar energy,
yeah.
we revert to solar energy, we revert to wind energy, we move away from the coal, we move away from the oil energy.
And they don't even want us to even mention nuclear because apparently it could explode or something.
So we move away from these energies, right? Which are cost efficient.
Yeah.
We move on to wind energy, which is 50% more costly than coal and oil. We move on to solar energy, which is 4 times. 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times is costly as coal and oil.
And I'm gonna
4 times.
And I'm going to explain why they're so costly.
And the economists love this.
Oh, because...
Tell them why.
I'm going to explain why. Why is wind and solar more costly? And they're trying to drive the cost up. Wind and things, they require construction. They require, and this is why economists love them, because they're going to require people to go out, clear land, do wind surveillances, find out where it's appropriate, build these monstrosities, and do the same thing for solar. They're going to go into a desert. They're going to ruin the ecosystem that's already there. Here's a hint, guys. Here's a hint. You know the green movement is crooked when actual environmentalists are protesting the green energy that they said that the propaganda is that's what they want. Well, why are they protesting the original hippies that started it all? Because maybe big business should stay out of clean energy. But that's enough of me ranting. But what happens is, now these energies on their surface shouldn't be a bad thing. But you have to run new power lines, you have to do a lot of stuff, get zoning permits, and these energies are new technologies that are very expensive. For example, a solar panel could run you $18,000 each panel. And then you have to have a huge, ridiculously huge area of land to get enough sunlight in to do the job. But there is a very hidden problem of pollutants with solar energy. Now, I love solar energy. I am for it for a private consumer to go out, get a quick little field, and make extra money. Because it's really easy money to make because it's residual and it sits in. See, the proper use for solar energy, because I'm not against solar and wind energies. I'm not. I think they're great. But they have to be used as they should be used properly. And properly, what I mean is, it can't get rid of nuclear energy. It can't get rid of coal or oil energy. These are efficient. These are proven. These have been developed. These are already there. Infrastructure, folks. Infrastructure is there. If infrastructure is there, then it's not that expensive to upgrade a couple of pipes or upgrade a boiler or whatever it is. I don't understand how that stuff works. I'm not an engineer here. To upgrade the parts to make it more efficient, it is not expensive. But to build a brand new place is. And they're massive. To replace us, we would have to set aside massive amounts of land. That means corporations and the governments are going to start annexing huge properties to do this. Now, what it should be done is in addition to. In addition to, we should have solar energy. In addition to, small, not big scale, not big and huge, but small. And in addition to, so we can scale back consumptions of so-called fossil fuels, which aren't made from fossils, and scale back. And that's what should be done. But it's not going to be, because big business is involved. And when big business and government work together, side by side, hand in hand, the only people that are going to pay for it is you and me.
When it comes down to it, to sum it all up, the reason not to campaign for this, to sum it all up, economists love it because it drives cost up. When we have to pay more for things, what happens? We pay more tax. The government is just juicing us for more and more and more money.
Oh, and they said they were going to raise taxes on anybody under $250,000. They're just going to quadruple our energy. And here's another thing, folks. Fine, cap and trade wouldn't be a bad thing if you eliminated income tax, or federal income tax, or federal property tax, or capital gains tax. And by the way, guys, capital gain tax is profiting off the death of another. That's horrible, unless you're the family member that person intended the money to go to. But to get back to the point, there is no limit to cap and gains. There's no cap on cap and gains. Isn't that pretty funny to say? There's no cap. There's no limit. So they can theoretically, see right now with income tax, there's a limit. There's brackets. They have to pass new laws or repeal new laws or whatever to change those tax brackets, right? Obama wants to raise taxes on certain people and supposedly not do it on others. But there's a system there that they have to work within to change. That's the system. It's bureaucracy, but it slows them from taxing 100%. But with cap and gains, there is no, although they're creating a new bureaucracy, there's no limit. There's no regulation on how much they could charge you. If they decide this week they're going to charge you 30% of your total energy bill on top, they could tax you that. If next year they decide they're going to charge you 50% of what you spend because you didn't comply to their bully fascist demands, then they could do that. Because guess what? No one's going to stop them unless we do. Because unlike what I said last week about you can't stop me and I can't stop me, no, they need to be stopped. This is just one plan. This is just one plan. And usually, per administration, there's always that one evil thing that gets slipped in under the guise of common sense. But with the Obama administration, I don't know, maybe he's ambitious. There's a bunch, and they're huge. And let's segue transitional period to the next really big one, the one that'll land me in jail for saying this. Let's talk about that.
Wait, hold on. I want everybody to keep in mind that we only make up 20% of the CO2 emissions in the entire world. Europe tried the cap and trade, and it failed miserably. They will never do it again. Never do it again. And without the entire world as a globalized community,
which is the goal, guys, that's their goal,
the New World Order,
oh yeah, that's their goal.
It's going to fail. What is 20%? 20% doesn't make up enough difference to have an impact on the global aspect.
I mean, we're not even going to get into the fact that, you know, global warming is propagandist bullshit. It's capitalizing on nature and claiming it's man. Now, not to say we don't have an effect in our environment, not to say we shouldn't be clean. Because I do believe 100%, if we had a choice between pollution and not pollution, don't fucking pollute. This is our planet. But what people don't realize is, and this is big, this is really big, it's a distraction. And here's the environmental distraction. Global warming is a farce the sun causes it, and we do have some effect on it. But that's not the reason why our planet's going to hell in a handbasket. It really isn't. The real reason is what people don't even mention.
Hold on, before you get to that,
Mm-hmm.
we'll save that for another day.
All right, I'm not even going to say it.
We're going to save that for another
topic. That'll get me going for another half hour.
Okay.
All right, now let's move on. Let's move on to the one that's going to put us in jail.
Woo!
This one is bad.
This one's dangerous.
This one's real dangerous because it's. You know why it's dangerous? The core bill is so dangerous that they're attaching other equally dangerous shit to it, and people aren't going to notice it because the original is so dangerous that the amendments are being overlooked. But they're worse or just as bad. This bill is designed to shred our Constitution to pieces. The land people like us and anybody else who has a freedom of opinion in jail for using digital media. This is a bully law to protect against cyberbullying. Now here's a tip, America. This was said by the people in the White House. I think it was Hillary Clinton and others there that you can't afford to waste tragedy. And what does that really mean, guys? What does that really mean? When something bad happens, people get angry and motivated, and they don't think clearly. Because remember, an individual is can be smart, intelligent, and well educated, can speak well. I'm talking
eloquent.
Eloquent. I couldn't think of the word. Eloquently. But that's a person. People are dumb, herd-like mentalities. People angry can do all sorts of horrible, horrible things before they come to their senses. They're like a stampeding animal, or stampeding bulls. And that's what you have. So, this poor girl, Megan Meyer Bill,
they're using her as an excuse.
And I'm sure if she knew what the hell would happen, she might, it's horrible. But, this poor girl.
Well, yeah, explain it to us.
Alright, this is what happened to this lady, this girl.
In St. Louis.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
This chick, she gets harassed by some people, and what happens is they make up a fake MySpace. They basically call her a whore and slut, put up inappropriate photos of her, and this was another chick, I believe.
Right, the chick's mom.
Yeah.
The chick's mom, which leads us back to our original
parents. It's your fault.
It's your fault, parents. Moral fucking responsibility.
Take fucking credit for your own shit. But okay, all right. So, this poor girl, she gets bullied, her reputation gets ruined, it drives her into depression, and just like with regular bullying that can happen, it can force people to become suicidal. This is the same reason some people get guns and shoot other people, and then themselves. Depression is a horrible thing, and that's something we're not going to joke about.
I want to know why she didn't seek help. That's what I want to know. I want to know why help wasn't involved. Why? Because her parents probably didn't have any moral responsibility.
See, girls are like this. Dude, if something's bothering a dude, you know what, I'm not even going to say that because that's not true. Certain people, because it's not specific to gender, certain people just keep it internal.
Right.
And they don't feel that the parents would understand. I mean, they feel that everything is going to destroy their lives, like, oh, the world's going to crush me. Because they don't understand that this high school shit is insignificant. It really doesn't matter.
Right.
I understood that, but not everybody does. And the problem is, they don't express it. And on the surface, they may seem to their parents cheerful and cheery, but in the inside, they're crying. And that could happen. I mean, I don't know the case well enough to know if she was really displaying the signs, or people didn't notice, or people just thought it was regular bullying and she was just going to get over it. The point is, this girl didn't get the help she needed. Even if she got help, it wasn't what she needed to save her. And the poor girl committed suicide and died. And our hearts go out to her family, because that's horrible. But in the wake of this tragedy, a new evil is being passed in her name. In her name! How horrible is that, folks? In her name, something that's supposed to protect this situation from happening. And guess what, folks? It's not. It's going to be used as a dagger to carve up, our Constitution and our rights to free speech and other rights that you didn't even realize were being attacked by this bill are being attacked. Right. And it's a horrible situation. As a matter of fact, they use where this happened, the ladies responsible for the bullying actually broke no laws, and this enraged in their state, and this enraged the people, because that means if they didn't break any law, we must have to write a law to cover this situation. But what they did do was, with creative trickery, they said, well, MySpace is based out of California, so technically you broke the law in California, and California does have bullying laws, not specific to, maybe not specific to the medium, but to the thing. And here's what they're doing. Cody, again, you're the man with the research. Explain to the people at home exactly what the core of this bill, and then we're going to get into the other parts of it, what the core of this bill does.
Alright, so, you know what? Let me just read it.
There you go.
My teleprompt is broken. I wrote it down. I'm going to read it.
Wow. Wow, you are already better than the president on that. I mean, no, I'm just kidding.
At least I can admit it.
I'm just kidding. Actually, reading off a teleprompter is equally as hard as reading off a piece of paper. I'm not going to...
I think it's hard.
I think it is. I mean, I think Obama's not getting credit. He's freaking amazing at it.
He's phenomenal.
I'm not that good at it.
He should work for your local weather channel.
Dude,
that's what he should do.
He really should, man. He is freaking good. He is.
Right.
I'm not even going to lie. But get back to this.
Okay.
All right.
Whoever transmits in interstate or foreign commerce, example, radio, TV, or internet, any communication with the intent to coerce, intimidate, harass, or cause substantial emotional distress to a person using electronic means to support severe, repeated, and hostile behavior shall be fined under the title of imprisonment not more than 2 years or both.
Now let me explain something to you guys. You know, this sounds
that's
like...
loose. That's very loose.
Now,
it sounds very loose to me.
That means I could call Bob Ross. I'm going to just throw a name out there. We love Bob Ross, and he died.
He died.
He died. He was the painting guy. He was a genius. But say I went on this show and said Bob Ross was a communist that slept with little boys. And I meant it. Now, I don't mean that, folks. But say I meant it. Say he was alive. He wasn't dead. I don't know why the first name in my head was a dead man, but...
It's terrible.
Terrible. But say he was alive, and I heard him. Now, normally, I made up lies, slanderous lies. That's why lawsuits exist, because you're not allowed to tell a lie. But if I was just saying that he was I said he's a hippie and this because he was. He smoked a lot of weed and blah, blah, blah. I was me. Now, they could come after me because technically I was hateful.
Right.
Now, say I spoke out against the government.
Right.
Like we're doing right now. Like we're disagreeing. We have the right to disagree and voice our opinions.
That's right.
Not anymore. If the government gets offended by it, time for jail.
Whoop, whoop.
And that's free speech. That's everything. Now here's the dog
the
and
First
pony.
Amendment, ladies and gentlemen.
Here's the dog and pony show right here. People are worried about the Fairness Doctrine, the Fairness Act. The Fairness Act is it's to say you have to have equal time for everything. Meaning, if I'm not a Republican or a Democrat, for example. I'm neither. I'm an independent thinker. I'm an independent mind. I don't like to be. But say I'm a Republican and I'm talking on a Republican TV show for 20 minutes. They have to have a Democrat come on and give the opposing viewpoints for another 20 minutes, or else you can't be on the air. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say you have to be fair. It just says you have the freedom to say whatever you want, not that you have to say whatever you want as long as it's balanced by somebody's opposing opinion. It doesn't even have to be a valid opinion, it just has to be balanced with it. No, but people are afraid of it. This is the one people are looking at. This is the one they're looking to stop. This was never designed to be passed, guys. You know why? Because it's the punch you see coming. It's this punch you're seeing coming in slow motion. Oh, look, Cody has time to move, dodge, or even punch me back, right? Oh, I missed. But he didn't see that with the knife that I just stabbed him in the gut with. Oh, snap. As he's looking at this hand, I just stabbed at.
It's not a gut. It's not a gut.
Well, yeah, I got the gut. You don't have
my
the gut.
Six-pack.
All right.
Six-pack.
All right, I got the gut.
Tell him six-pack.
I got a freaking keg here, so, ooh. But.
No, I don't have a six-pack.
But this law is the sucker punch. While you're watching this hand is robbing you. And that's what's happening, folks. They're not really going after the First Amendment with this shit that they're going to shoot down. They're going after this. And they don't call it anything that sounds threatening. the Megan whatever Act.
Megan Meyer.
The Megan Meyer Act.
Well, why don't you tell them about the other part of this law?
Well, there's a secret amendment to this law that they're trying to sneak in. One of the because you know a bill can't be a bill without a bunch of amendments attached to it.
What do they call them? What are they?
Earmarks.
Earmarks.
Well, earmarks. No, earmarks is when you get paid for it. This is not an earmark.
Oh.
Earmark is an amendment that you get paid for, or you pay other people for. This is different. You see, this is designed also to shred the Constitution, but you see, the idea is the federal government right now is trying to take full control over the country. And you may think, but it's the federal government. Of course they have full control. No, they don't. Because the federal government is weighed against the state government. And so they're equal. And there is a balance of power there. One shouldn't be too much stronger than the other. Now, not to say one state has the same power as the federal government. No, all the states have the same power as the federal government. So that's why the federal government can bully one state if it's not in unison with the other states for acting badly. That's what the federal government's for, to harp on a state that's not acting right. But this is what they're trying to do to cripple and basically take away what little remains of the state's power. Basically they're saying, say you get tried for a crime, and let's say you get convicted.
What kind of crime?
Doesn't matter. Any type of crime that's handled by the state courts.
Well, use your imagination. What kind of crime?
I robbed you. I got armed robbery. Me and my buddy, I robbed you.
Why's it gotta be me?
I like your shit. I love this fucking this backdrop. $9 bucks. I know. But all right. So, but it was me and this other guy that did it, right? I don't know you, and we did it. And he shot you. But I flipped on him. I said, you know what? I took the plea deal. You didn't die, though. You're good. I took the plea deal. I said, my man went crazy. There was no reason for this. Once we realized somebody was home, I wanted to leave. I went to walk out the door. He pulled the gun, and he shot this guy, and there was no reason for it. Right? So I get a plea deal. I get 6 months probation, followed by whatever, community service, and a shitload of fines, a slap on the wrist, so that my accomplice could go to jail, right?
Right.
All right, but the state did this. Now the federal government says, hold on, this guy was his friend. He planned the robbery. This is not right, right? And they may have good motives and saying this is bullshit. So they're going to try me again in federal court. Now I've already been convicted of my crime, and I'm currently paying my sentence.
Because they feel it wasn't substantial.
It wasn't substantial enough. So now they're going to give me, 6 to 10 years. Okay. That's double jeopardy, folks. That's protected in our Bill of Rights, in our Constitution. Shred it. Ooh, we don't need it. It's gone. They're stabbing the shit out of that Constitution, folks. And there's a reason for double jeopardy. And the reason is, back in the day, the King of England used to do that shit all the time to the poor colonists. They would try him and try him and try him and try him until they got him on a conviction. And no double jeopardy to prevent such abuses of power. But folks, you don't get what they're doing. That would illegitimize, it would make the illegitimacy of the courts in states, taking away their power to prosecute, to enforce laws. If they can't enforce the law, they have no power. None. What does it matter? They can't enforce the laws. That's it. That's their sovereignty. Gone. Nothing. It's gone. And that's what's going on, folks. This law, in the guise of a tragedy, is going after a lot of bad things. And nobody seems to care. Very few people care. Because it's evils of marketing, isn't it? Name it after a pretty dead girl, and there you go. Name it after a tragedy. It's what you do. It's how you do it. This isn't a cyberbullying, really. And all forms of digital media.
Let me ask you a question. What would happen to comedians? You go to a show and he's sitting there, he's making fun of you in the first row.
As long as it's not aired on TV, you're fine. But if you're on Showtime or HBO, you're going to jail.
So would you say that would that would definitely cause the government to step over boundaries and move into your private life?
I think it would. I mean,
I think so.
I mean, technically, this includes emails. Folks, emails are protected under mail. It's a federal crime to open your mail without a warrant. I guess what they don't need warrants to monitor email. It's a crime now. Okay, they're going to go through your emails, your blogs, everything you do. They're going to monitor you to make sure you don't act up and talk against the state. Because that's what this is, folks. It's against the state. It's just like hate crime legislation, which is a different topic. But hate crime legislation sounds good, but why do we judge the motive of the crime and not the crime? Why does the intent of the crime make it more so than the actual crime? And it doesn't. But that's what it's going to do. They're going to shred privacy. They're going to go after everything. I mean, we like to have fun here on this show. We like to have funny games, but on our first episode, we figured we'd be a little bit more serious for this segment, because it's a serious issue and it's one that really pisses me off. But you know what I gotta say though? I gotta say, I really appreciate and I really understand and I really respect people like Howard Stern and Glenn Beck. Not always do I agree with everything that they have to say and their opinions and everything that goes on with, whatever they're talking about, but I definitely understand that how they came up and they weren't afraid to say what they were thinking, because if it wasn't for people like that, everybody would be sitting home whispering to each other. And it's both ends. Let's take the two examples you just mentioned. Those are both ends of the spectrum. You have Howard Stern. Howard Stern has fought for the First Amendment almost his entire career. And you may not think so. He's raunchy, he's loud, he's funny. He's a funny guy, and you're thinking he's lewd, he's whatever. But it's the speech, it's the type of free speech that you don't like is the one you have to defend the most, because without it, we're in trouble. The same thing with Glenn Beck. If my buddy's just getting more alcohol, it's on a little tip, drink it. But the same thing with Glenn Beck. I mean, he's on the other end of the spectrum and telling people what's going on. But under the laws that are about to pass, this is no good. Now, let's get into, I figured out what I wanted to talk about for our last little introspective.
Well, before you go into that,
yeah,
I'm going to talk real quick.
Oh, yes, the personal segment.
I had a buddy of mine worked for an energy company. Believe it or not.
I'm not going to say which one because it's not their fault.
We're not going to say which one. And they had a college reimbursement program,
which is great.
And he was taxed on his college reimbursement program. Now, a lot of people out there, you think that college reimbursement is non-taxable program.
Because it's technically not income. If I spend X amount of money on school and my job reimburses me, I didn't make an extra 10 grand a year for college. I didn't make from 40 to 50. I made 40, but my money still got taxed and I paid for school.
Right. See, what people don't understand is in 1996,
under Clinton,
they passed a law saying that any amount that was reimbursed, paid for by companies for schooling over the amount of $5,200 was taxable.
Which is horrible.
And he spent $7,000, and he was reimbursed $7,000.
Now let me explain something. In the 90s, it might have seemed like a decent amount, 52. It might
not go to school for
$52,000
in the 90s.
5,200, not 1,000. And it was fine. But this is not the 90s with inflation and the dollar worth nothing. 7,000 is actually a close average.
A New York State school,
which is where
staying there is about $12,000 a semester. $12,000 a semester. A state school, $12,000 a semester.
Now we've been saying, and this also has to do with You know, your responsibility is it's about to come up. When's it coming up?
2010.
2010, folks.
It's being looked at again.
It's being looked at again. And I guarantee, with the way our Congress is right now, the way our government is right now, and spending money and squeezing every penny possible from the people, instead of being looked at and maybe pushing this amount up or getting rid of it whatsoever, saying, you know what, 5,200 is not fair anymore. We should make it 10 grand.
Right, because there's such thing as inflation.
Inflation, exactly.
Right. So does it vary directly with inflation?
No.
No.
I almost guarantee that they'll lower it. They'll lower it.
I predict that they're going to get rid of it. They're going to get rid of it. So the company has to pay taxes on what they pay out, and the individual has to pay taxes on what they pay out. Because this is how it works. I'm going to school. Okay? I have to front the money. It's a reimbursement program.
Yeah.
So I pay taxes on the original $10,000 that I paid for the school. The company took out tax on my $10,000. They took out my federal, they took out my state, and my whatever other that little one is that they squeeze in there and never explain to you what the hell it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So I've already paid tax on what I've originally shelled out for school. Now the company comes in and says, "Hey, we're going to reimburse you." They don't explain to you that they're only only 5,200 of that is tax free.
And they're going to give you the whole amount because they're a good company. It's not their fault. You can't blame the company for having a good program that gets taxed. But
so what do I get back? Do I get 10,000 back? No. Do I get 5,200 back? No. I get somewhere in between, because the difference between the 10,000 and the 5,200, what is that? 4,800 was taxed. Now he says it was a high rate. He says it was something like 40 something percent. Now that might be an exaggeration, but regardless, I'm being taxed on $4,800. That's quite a bit of money.
And that's double taxation, because you already paid tax for it when you got it. The way they look at it is, you've made an extra 7, but you didn't make an extra 7. Really, what happened was they're paying for your school. You're not paying for your school, and the fact that you did pay for your school and you're supposed to get it back is just a transference of funds that have already been taxed.
Right.
And if anything, they should be a write-off from tax, because education shouldn't be penalized.
So anybody who's going through this, who can't figure it out, and hopefully we were able to help out, and the Face Show, we are definitely campaigning in 2010
to end this horrible practice. To
end it and have it bumped up, okay, to 100%. I'm talking a percent, not an amount. It should be 100% is tax-free. Okay, because supposedly the Obama administration they're campaigning for more college funding. Okay, so I would assume that in 2010 they're going to move it to a percentage. 80%, 100% is going to be tax-free.
Now,
that makes more sense to me.
It does, and we're campaigning. We're going to hopefully do this. But in reality, this is my prediction. This is my prediction, because this is how Obama looks at it. He doesn't want the private sector whatsoever helping you out at all. He doesn't want companies to help you, because his idea, and he truly believes this, is the only thing that can save your life is the government. The government is smarter than you. It's better than you. It's not even made by you. It's not by the people and for the people. It's for the people, but by people's better than you. Because Obama's better than you. Because the government is better than you. Because anybody in Washington that works in the government is better than you.
Better than you.
And that's the idea of communism, is work together and let us lead, because we're better than you. And on that note,
so what was that last thing you wanted to talk about?
I wanted to talk about Ron Paul had brought up a law last week.
Ron Paul.
Not a law, but a bill that he wanted. You gotta love Ron Paul. He's the craziest nut, and people think, like he's crazy, but he's crazy like a fox. He's crazy in a good way. He's that crazy guy you want on your side. You know what I mean? And America, guess what? He's on your side. That's the best part about that.
He's that guy in Red Rover that never lets go.
He never lets go. I mean, I think one day somebody's going to shoot him if he ever becomes effective. But actually,
you said that about a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
But he actually was effective, and what he did in the House was, I may have joked about before, but Federal Reserve evil is not a joke. They are the branch of the world government that controls our wealth. And guess what? Another country controls our debt, but that's another story. But they wanted to pass a law or a bill that would allow Congress to look at their books to see what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, yeah, private company that's not federal or reserve. Those evil bastards. But they said no, because technically they could tell Congress to go fuck themselves. Actually, the Federal Reserve can tell the President to go fuck himself.
I believe so. I believe the Federal Reserve controls
the President. And as a matter of fact, well,
what's the name of that group again?
Oh, Build a Bear?
Build a Bear?
Build a Bird?
Build a Bird.
Build a Bird?
Build a Bird.
Oh, the Build a Bird group. Very evil motherfuckers. Trilateralists.
Wow.
Global agenda. Globalism.
You thought we didn't know.
Yeah, oops.
Thought we didn't know.
Oops.
Ooh.
But
you better keep going with this because we're about to lose battery.
We're going to lose battery. But let me, this is real fast. He had over half the House as co-sponsors of the bill. Not even that they said they were going to vote for the bill in the House. Co-sponsors, meaning...
What's the bill?
I don't know the name because I said this is something I came up with at the top of my head. But this bill is allowing us to view the records of the Federal Reserve. I mean, this is something I thought of on the fly. But they were co-sponsors, bro. That means not only do they say they were going to vote for it, but they're promoting it. And they're making it like they wrote it too.
So they're campaigning
for it. Exactly.
Okay.
That means it's flying in the House. It goes, the other week it goes up to go to the Senate now. Immediately Nancy Pelosi and those people that run the Congress over there, they stopped it from even getting mentioned to be brought up, to be talked about, to be voted on. They didn't even get to the, well, I like to talk about Ron Paul's deal. They didn't even get that far because it was banned from being spoken of to some procedural bullshit. Because say what you want about the Democrats, they are freaking amazing at bending the rules against you. They are really good at that. I'm not going to lie. They are amazing. They are good at their job at that. And if they weren't so misguided half the time, they'd be the best. But they're just as greedy as the greedy-ass Republicans that ran the country before. But whatever. I mean, that's what I'm saying. And so this bill got defeated. So instead of being able to finally, it would have been one step closer to maybe ending the Federal Reserve and looking at their books, it was stopped at the gate by the people who are being backed by the Reserve. And Obama wants to increase the power to run all business, to give the Federal Reserve the power to eat up any bank they want and get stronger, eat up any company they want and get stronger, under the guise. Hey, guess what, guys? Here's something, a little tidbit before I run out of time here. Do you know federal tax doesn't even go to the government? Oh, you didn't know that, did you? Did you know
8,
Social Security?
7,
all right.
6,
This
5,
is the end.
4,
Episode 1, bitches.
3, 2,
Episode 1.